When I was a kid, there was exactly one meal I was allowed to make in the kitchen by myself. Plain simple white bread, a thick layer of fresh cream my mother refrigerated that morning. The real stuff, hand-skimmed off top of boiled milk. Milk that was hand-milked at home just before sunrise. A layer of white crystal sugar on top of that. Then a second slice of bread. And finally, ghee, clarified butter, spread on both outer faces onto a hot iron pan until the whole thing went golden brown from the outside and the sugar inside melted down into the cream. I must have made it a few hundred times, and here's the strange part. I have no memory of the last time I ever made it. None. There was a final afternoon my hands did that exact thing. A final time I tasted it, and it passed like any other day. I did not mark it. I did not know to. Nobody walked in and said, "That's the last one. Say goodbye." I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because it isn't just a sandwich. There was a last time I got carried to my bed. A last time my whole friend group played the street cricket we played every single evening. The last time I greeted my favorite teacher from primary school, and then I grew up and simply never saw her again. Every one of those had a final occurrence. Not one of them announced itself. Here's what made me want to talk about this now. We are, by the numbers, the most nostalgic generation that has ever lived. A 2025 report from the research firm GWI found that Gen Z is the most nostalgic age group they track. And a real share of young people now say they'd rather think about the past than the future. Scroll for 2 minutes and you'll feel it. The disposable camera filters, the Y2K everything, the nostalgia edits set to a song from when you were 9. Sit with the irony for that for a second. A whole generation aching for childhood while we were barely awake for the first time around. We are homesick for moments we didn't fully attend to when we actually had them. I know it sounds cliche, but we really did take those little valuable things for granted. So this isn't another video telling you to live in the moment. I want to show you why that advice keeps sliding off, and the one shift that finally made being present feel less like a chore and more like something I actually wanted to do. The thing that did it for me wasn't gratitude journaling. It was finally learning to see the last time coming. Here's the plan. First, why be present almost never sticks. Then the shift that gives it an engine. Then a saner way to split your attention so you stop bleeding the present dry. And then what to actually do tomorrow morning. Let me stay in my own life for a minute, because I think yours might have a same shape. When you're a kid, the days feel like they'll repeat forever. You don't think of any of it as finite. The summer is just another summer. Your friends are just your friends, always down the road, always free after dinner. The version of your family that exists when you're 8. Everyone the age they are, everyone under one roof that doesn't feel like a moment. It feels like the permanent background of the world. And then it moves. Not in a dramatic way, nobody dies, nothing breaks, it just quietly shifts. One ordinary day at a time. Until one afternoon you look up and the whole arrangement is gone. The friend group scattered across different cities. The teacher retired. The kitchen renovated. The cream you can't get anymore because nobody sets milk like that where you live now. What gets me is that I didn't notice the endings while they were happening. I was present for the first day of school. Everybody is. You get a photo. Nobody takes a photo of the last day you play in the street, because nobody knows it's the last one. The last time usually looks like an ordinary Tuesday afternoon and walks right past you. That used to just make me sad. Then it started doing 2 more useful things. The first was that it made me suspicious of the present, in a good way. It made me look harder at what I have right now. The things that feel permanent, because I finally understood what permanent actually means. It means I haven't noticed it leaving yet. And the second thing took me longer to feel. Getting to have had any of it at all, the cream, the street cricket, the teacher, that was the privilege. You don't ache for what you never loved. The grief, if you want to call it that, is just a receipt for how good the thing actually was. Once you see it that way, the sadness stops being a wound and starts being kind of gratitude pointed backwards towards your past. And gratitude pointed backwards is the thing that finally teaches you how to look forward towards your future. So why doesn't live in the moment work? 3 reasons, and the third one is the whole video. 1. It's an instruction with no engine. Telling someone to be present is like telling someone to be in love. It's a state, not a switch. You can't will yourself into caring about a normal afternoon because nothing about a normal afternoon is asking for your attention. The brain doesn't spend focus on what it assumes is infinite. Why would it? If there's always more of where that came from, you can pay attention next time. 2. We've quietly diverted our attention towards noticing a screen. A researcher named Alexandra Barash spends a year on one very specific question. What happens in your head when you take a photo to share it? Instead of to remember it, to post it, not to keep it. And what she found across study after study is that the intention to share quietly pulls you out of the experience. You enjoy it less because part of you steps outside the moment to manage how it will look to other people. A lot of modern life runs in that mode now. We are not truly eating the meal, we are almost framing it. We are not at the concert, we are filming a version of the concert for people who are not there. We turned ourselves into the camera, and the camera doesn't truly taste anything. 3. This third one is what rewired me. Presence needs scarcity to switch on. Attention is a resource that your brain rations, and it spends the most on whatever it thinks it's about to lose. You already know this. Think about how vivid the last few days of a trip feel compared to the first few days. Same place, same weather, but by the end, there's a clock on it, and suddenly you're seeing the color of the water in a way you did not on day 1. There's a psychologist named Jamie Kurtz who ran a beautiful study on exactly this. She took students near graduation and had one group write about their time at college as if it were almost over, running out, the days numbered. The other group wrote about it as if there was plenty of time left. Same college, same life. The students who were made to feel the ending coming did more with their remaining weeks and came out measurably happier. Nothing changed fundamentally, except that one group could actually feel the clock ticking. That's the lever this whole video is built on, so let me say it as plainly as I can. You can't manufacture caring. Nobody can decide to find a Tuesday precious. But you can manufacture scarcity, gently and on purpose. And scarcity drags the caring behind it. Feel the ending, and presence shows up on its own. You don't force it. It arrives the moment you can see that this runs out. Now, there's a trap waiting here, and I fell into it for years, so let me save you the trip. When you realize you missed something, the instinct is to go back and get it, recreate it. I actually tried this with the sandwich. As an adult, I sourced the cream, I bought the ghee, I stood at the pan and made the exact thing, and it was fine, it was pretty good. But it was nothing like I remembered, because the sandwich itself was never the thing. It wasn't about the object itself. The thing was being 9 in that kitchen, in that particular light, with my family around me and a whole life still ahead of me that I had not spent yet. You can rebuild the object. You cannot rebuild the moment, because the moment was made out of a version of you, and a version of everyone you love that has already quietly moved on. Nostalgia sells you the idea that the past is a place you can visit. It isn't. It's a chemical reaction that needed ingredients you don't have anymore, which sounds bleak for about 3 seconds until it flips. If you can't relive any of it later, then the only place it's ever fully available is now, in the present. This ordinary day, the one you're half paying attention to right now, is the exact kind of day you'll ache for later. You are, at this very moment, sitting inside someone's future nostalgia, probably your own. And here's the turn that takes the whole thing out of a grief and into something you can build with. You can't recreate the old memories. I proved that to myself standing at the stove. But you are, right now, making the memories your future self will be homesick for. The past is closed, but the supply of future nostalgia is wide open. And you're the one manufacturing it today in how you spend this perfectly ordinary week. So make good memories on purpose. What I've landed on after years of half living my own days is that we treat presence like a nice to have. a little wellness upgrade when it's much closer to the whole point. The moments don't bank. The afternoon you spent on autopilot doesn't get refunded. It's just gone, lived at 10%, and you don't get told which afternoon were the last of their kind until long after they're over. So how are you supposed to live then? Not in a permanent state of, this is the last time. That's exhausting, and honestly, it's just a different way of not being here. Here's the split that finally made sense to me. Picture all your attention divided across 3 places: the past, the present, and the future. Most of us, if we're being completely honest, are running something like 40% stuck in the past, replaying things we cannot change, and 40% flung into the future, rehearsing things that haven't happened yet, and most of them won't actually happen, which leaves almost nothing for the one place life is actually being lived at, the present. Let's start with flipping the ratio. Let's be 80% here, in the now. Maybe 15% for the future, enough to plan, to look forward to something exciting, to log a good thing in our calendars. And 5% for the past, enough to honor it, embrace our memories and learn from them. 80, 15, 5. The past is a reference. The future is a direction. The present is the only thing that's actually happening. Most of your suffering is just attention filed in the wrong place. Paying rent on a house you don't live in anymore, or one you haven't built yet. So the practical move, not a 30-day challenge, not a morning routine, one lens, and you can pick it up tomorrow. I call it the last time lens. And it's a single question and 2 moves. In the middle of something ordinary, something you'd normally sleepwalk through, ask yourself, what if this was one of the last times? That's it. You're not pretending something bad is coming. You're just switching off the assumption of infinity for 1 minute. And watch what it does. You hug someone goodbye at the door and you actually feel it. Because someday, there genuinely is the last time you hug that person and you won't get a warning. You sit at dinner with your parents and you notice they've aged. And you stay at the table 10 minutes longer. The most ordinary scene in the world turns vivid the instant you stop assuming it's permanent. Point it at 3 things. First, yourself, your own solitude, the you that's going to be a little different by tomorrow, physically or how you see the world, your own face in the mirror at this age, which you will one day look back on as impossibly young. You're also one of the things that's ending and becoming something else. Don't skip past your own life. Second, the people around you. Once today, look at someone you love like you're going to have to remember this, because the maths is simple and it stings. You have a finite number of times left with every single person in your life, and most of those numbers are smaller than you think. Let that make you warmer, not sadder. Third, the walk you take every day, your homemade morning coffee, the grass in your backyard, the beer with your best friend at the pub, the way your kid mispronounces a word. Pick one ordinary thing today and clock it like it's already becoming a memory, because it is. Now, 2 moves to make that lens actually bite. The first is a little audit, and you can run it this week. Take the small things you enjoy and ask a strange question about each one. How often am I really going to do this over the next year? 2 answers come back. Some things you're doing too much, your favorite chocolate ice cream every single night. And here's the quiet trick. If you space it out, you win twice. You protect your health, and you get your love for the thing back, because you stopped drowning in it. That's scarcity again, working for you instead of against you. Same with a special meal, a recipe, anything you have worn smooth from overuse. The other answer is the opposite. Some things you're barely doing or you genuinely don't know if you'll ever do again. That trip to Japan, that friend across the country, the hobby you keep meaning to return to. For those, do the unromantic thing. Open your calendar and block the date. Now, 2 things are true at once. You've turned a maybe into a plan, and because of some part of you knows it might not have happened at all, you'll walk into it more awake than you were the last time. You'll have manufactured a first and protected it from quietly becoming a last. And the last piece is the one that turns all of this from looking backward to building forward. You can't recreate your own childhood. You can absolutely help build someone else's and a richer life for yourself while you do it. Play with your kids, your nieces, your nephews, knowing the version of them in front of you is already on the way out. They're literally changing into a different person while you watch. Every single time you play with them could honestly be filed as the last of its exact kind. So don't take it for granted. Make the most out of it and put real care into the new memory that you're making, because that one is the part of the past you still get to write. You don't need to do all of this all day. All day would be exhausting and honestly a bit morbid. Once a day, take the lens out, look through it for 60 seconds and then put it away. That's enough to start waking up inside your own life. Let me go back to that kitchen one more time. I will never know which afternoon was the last one. That door is shut and no amount of cream and ghee reopens it. But the sandwich gave me something better than the sandwich itself. It showed me what an ending actually looks like from the inside, which is to say it looks like nothing. It looks like a completely ordinary day that you did not bother to memorize. I once made a video arguing that attention is the most valuable raw material you have got, the stuff your whole life is built out of, and that a lot of clever people are getting rich farming it. This is the other half of that. It isn't only that your attention is being taken, it's that you're spending it as if you'll be handed more of these days forever. And you won't. For better or worse, you're going to have the same number of breaths, whether you're awake for them or not. So I'm not going to tell you to live in the moment. I'm going to tell you the truth sitting underneath it. Everything you love is on its way out of the door, slowly, quietly, gradually, disguised as a regular week. And you don't have to be morbid about it. You just have to stop assuming the door stays open forever. Look closely at that thing. Taste that thing. Stare at the table a little longer. One of these ordinary days really will be the last one, and the only way to not waste it is to be fully awake for the ones that are not the last, and to make a few new ones, a few new memories worth missing while you still can. Pick one ordinary moment tomorrow and look at it through the lens. Then leave a comment with the thing you caught yourself walking straight past. I read every comment. Go look at something before it's gone. See you soon. Bye for now.